In this assignment, I'll be talking through the tests I did on my client, and I'll be comparing it to normative data. I will also be looking at her strengths and at her weaknesses and the areas for improvement. At the end, I will design a 2-week program which will focus on improving her weaknesses. Beth is a 17-year-old female who plays football 2 to 3 times a week. Fitness test 1 was the 30-metre sprint, which I tested her speed. This test is suitable for my client as she plays football, therefore, at parts during her game she may need to sprint to get the ball. However, she may not need to sprint 30 metres as it can vary from 5 metres to 30 metres depending on how far away the ball is. Her strengths were she had good running paces and a long stride. This is good because she's able to cover the ground quicker. The longer strides may be due to the fact that she is warmed up beforehand, therefore the muscles are more pliable, and this means that she will be able to stretch more. She also kept her head straight and didn't move. This is good because she's looking forward and not down. This means that she's maintaining constant concentration. So in test 1, she got a speed of 6. In test 2, she got a speed of 6.12, and in test 3, she got a speed of 6.03. To national average data, this is poor. This may be because of her weaknesses. Her weaknesses was her running technique wasn't very good, as she didn't pump her arms to push her forward. By not using her arms, she is lacking extra speed to push her forward. By pumping the arms, it is helping her to drive her in a straight line. Also, she wasn't wearing proper running shoes. This could have affected her time, as she wasn't getting a proper support she needed. So her areas for improvement is that she needs to practice on her running technique, and she needs to keep her elbows in and keep her hands flat to move them in a slicing action. This will help her become more aerodynamic, which will in turn make her run faster, as there is less air resistance pulling her back. Another area for improvement is to start in a proper sprint start. This will help her with a more stable start, as she'll be able to push herself forward before she goes for her sprint. Fitness test 2 is aerobic endurance. This is a 1.5-mile run. So her result was 14 minutes and 27 seconds. So compared to national average, this data was good. So this is suitable for my client, as even though she plays football, she needs to be able to have a good aerobic endurance. However, this test is continuous, and in football there's lots of stopping and starting, as 1 minute you'll be sprinting for the ball and the next you'll be jogging. So therefore this test may not be showing her true aerobic endurance for her sport. However, her strengths were that she had good cardiovascular system, so this is efficient in supplying oxygen to the working muscles. Therefore, she's being able to breathe in enough oxygen for hemoglobin to take the oxygen round to the muscles and saturate the muscles with oxygen. And her muscular endurance must be good, as she was able to run the test without walking. Once again, this means there was enough oxygen going to the muscles for them to keep working without stopping. However, her weaknesses were that she started off too fast, which meant she built up much more lactic acid than she actually needed, and due to her stride being very short, she didn't cover the ground as much. So her areas for improvement is that she needs to pace herself, because if she starts off too fast, then she's going to accumulate a lot of lactic acid, as her body won't be able to sufficiently remove enough of the lactic acid in time for her to use up other energy sources. Also, she needs to warm up before she runs to make her muscles more pliable, so that it'll be more stretchy, and therefore she'll be able to get a longer stride. Fitness test 3 was once again for aerobic endurance. This time it was the yo-yo test. This is suitable for my client as she plays football, and this test starts and stops, so therefore it mimics the game of football. For example, at one point she may be running, but at another point she may be walking. For this test, she got a result of 14.6, and compared to national average data, this was only average. However, her strengths, that she had good aerobic endurance. This could be due to her playing football 2 to 3 times a week, so therefore she's already physically quite fit, and the oxygen she's breathing is going to her muscles to be able to keep them working, and she was able to control her breathing so that she got a lot of air in and a lot of volume of air in, which is better than taking short breaths, as most of that oxygen will go to the heart to keep the heart pumping and not to her working muscles, which she needs. Her weaknesses were that she ran too fast at the start and therefore fatigued more. She didn't push herself to her maximum potential, as she quit quite early when she wasn't even that tired. And she hadn't drunk much water in the day, and therefore she might have been slightly dehydrated. and your body needs water in the blood, otherwise the plasma becomes too thick and therefore it's hard to pump around the body. So it's therefore better to have watery blood than to have thicker blood. So her areas for improvement were that she needs to push herself fully to get the test data accurate, and she also needs to hydrate herself. So this means that the blood will be easier to flow around her body, and therefore it will be able to deliver all the oxygen to the muscles, because if it was too thick then it would be harder to pump around her body. Fitness test 4 was power, and this was a vertical jump. This is suitable for my client as she's a football player, and they need to have power in their legs to be able to kick the ball to a teammate with more force. Moreover, she may need to jump to head of the ball during a game, so therefore the power in her legs. So the more power she has in her legs, the higher she can jump, resulting in a header. And when she headers, she'll be able to get the ball and make sure the opponent doesn't. In result 1, she got 47 centimetres, result 2, she got 42 centimetres, and result 3, she got 45 centimetres. So at national average, this came out as average. Her strengths were that she had good explosive power in her legs, which meant she was able to reach up and get as high as she could, and also she had good flexion at the knees, so she'd get as low as she could in her eccentric contraction before powering upwards to get as much height as possible. However, her weaknesses were that she had a bad jumping technique because she didn't swing her arms properly, and swinging the arms was able to propel you forward and propel you upwards. And she wasn't wearing appropriate footwear, which could have lacked in extra help when she was springing forward. So areas of improvement is that she needs to swing her arms before jumping to give her more power, more force to push her upwards, and she needs to wear appropriate footwear to get accurate results. Fitness test 5 was muscular endurance, and this was a 1-minute sit-up test. This test wasn't very suitable for my client, as she doesn't really need good abdominal muscles to be able to play football. Even though she needs muscular endurance to be able to play football for a long period of time, she doesn't need strong abs. So in test 1, she got 39. So compared to national average, this is excellent. Her strengths were that she had good muscular endurance in her abs, and she kept quite a good repeated rhythm throughout. She didn't start off too quick because that would have fatigued her muscles, and she had good muscular strength in her abs. A weakness was that she was pulling on her head while doing the test. By doing this, she could strain her neck, which would cause injury, which we wouldn't want. And also, she fatigued a lot around 50 seconds, making the last 10 seconds really hard for her. So this shows that she may have started too fast, just a bit too fast at the start, so she wouldn't be able to carry on. Her areas for improvement is that she doesn't need to pull on her head, because this can strain her neck and this can cause injury to the back of her neck, and her neck's vital for all the exercises she's doing. And she needs to improve on her muscular strength, so she doesn't fatigue as much. However, muscular strength really needs to be improved in her legs rather than her abs. Fitness test 6 is muscular endurance, and this is a chest-to-step test. This is suitable for my client as she needs to have good muscular endurance in her legs to be able to keep running on the football pitch without fatiguing. However, this test is done for 3 minutes continuously, and in a game of football she would not be expected to run continuously throughout the game, as there will be points where she's running and others where she's standing still. In result 1, she got 52 seconds at the start of her heart rate and 80 seconds at the end, and compared to national average this was excellent. So her strengths was that she had good muscular endurance in her legs to be able to keep pushing her forward up and down the step, and she kept her heart rate quite low, which meant her general fitness is quite good. This could be because she plays football 2-3 times a week, and her heart's already gone into hypertrophy because the muscle is very good in her heart. However, her weakness was that she didn't have any weaknesses except her clothing, which was not practical for the step-up test, as her shoes weren't proper and her top wasn't good. So areas of improvement is that she needs to wear appropriate clothing and appropriate footwear. Now, moving on to a 2-week exercise program. So while I was planning this, I need to think of the FIT principles, which are frequency, intensity, time, and type. Monday, I'll be doing speed, and I'll be doing interval training. So my client will need to run 20-second sprint and a 40-second rest. This will be repeated 10 times at an RP of 12. I feel that she can start at a high level as her fitness is already very good. While doing this, I will concentrate on her running technique, and she'll be able to get a better time if her running technique's better. On Tuesday, I'll be doing muscular endurance, focusing on her legs, cycling on a road bike 3 miles and an RP of 11. The intensity will be quite low at this point as she needs to adjust to cycling as she doesn't usually cycle as she normally plays football. Wednesday will be a rest day. This helps her muscles adapt to the exercise that has taken place, and this will cause hypertrophy. Also, during the days off, any slight injuries will adjust and repair. Thursday will be aerobic endurance, and I'll be doing fartlek training with her. This will improve her overall running, and I'll be doing it on different terrains. She will walk some, run some, and sprint some. This is specific for football, as sometimes in football she needs to sprint for the ball, but other times she only needs to walk. Also, she'll be playing on grass, therefore this training will be specific as the terrain she'll be on will be grass. On Friday will be power, and it'll be interval training. I'll be doing standing board jumps with a 5 kilogram medicine ball. And to reduce tedium, I will throw in a football and she will have to header it while she's doing the squats. In the jump, she will do squat with the medicine ball and then jump up after the squat. This will focus on her leg muscles, and she'll need good power in her legs to be able to kick the ball further. So hopefully this will help with kicking the ball further across the pitch to her. Once again, Saturday will be a rest day, as I don't want to push her too hard because this will cause injury. Sunday will be muscular endurance. I'd like her to go for a jog for 30 minutes at an RP of 13. Near her house there's a park, and I'd like her to run around there 3 times. Running will help her muscular endurance, but it will also increase her aerobic endurance. All this training will be specific to Beth's sport, otherwise there'll be no benefit for her. Moreover, over time the intensity will increase as she needs to improve on that component of fitness. Now I've moved on to week 2 of her exercise program. On Monday, once again, it'll be speed and it'll be interval training. However, this time she's going to be doing 30-second sprint and 20-second rest. She'll repeat it 15 times at an RP of 15. I have increased the amount of time she will be running for to ensure that her fitness doesn't plateau. I want her to work at an RP of 15. This is because I want her to push herself. Once again, while doing this, I will concentrate on her running technique. By doing this, she'll be able to get a better time. On Tuesday, I'll be doing muscular endurance, focusing on her legs. Once again, I'd like her to cycle on a road bike for 10 miles this time. By doing this, she'll engage her slow oxidative muscle fibers, and this is what she'll need for a long game of football. Her RPE should be at 14. Wednesday will be a rest day. Once again, this is so her body can adapt to all the changes it's made. Thursday will be aerobic endurance, and it will be fartlek training. This will involve running on different terrain. She'll walk some, run some, sprint some again. This is specific to football because I'm going to be doing it on grass, and most of her football games are played on grass. Also, she'll be only doing it for an hour on and off. I want her to train for an hour with rest of 10 minutes for 3 minutes. Friday will be power and it'll be interval training, and I'll be doing standing board jumps with her with a 7 kilogram medicine ball. I've increased the weight because I want her muscles to be working maximally. And to reduce tedium, once again, I'm going to throw in a football which she'll have to header. Once again, this will be focusing on her leg muscles as she needs good power in them for her football to be able to kick the ball with more force. Saturday, once again, will be a rest day as I don't want her to push herself too hard to cause injury. Sunday will be muscular endurance. I'd like her to go for a jog for 50 minutes and an RPE of 15. Once again, I'd like to run around her park that's near her house. Running will help with her endurance, but it will also help with her aerobic endurance. During the run, I want her to average 10-minute miles. Because this is week 2, I want her to train harder. This will ensure that her muscles go into hypertrophy and they don't just plateau. After this training program, I would expect her to be able to keep up a higher intensity during a football game, and she'll be able to sprint faster for the ball. However, because this is only a 2-week program, there won't be a massive change in her performance on the pitch, as she hasn't really adjusted to what training she has done. There will only be a good indication if this training program has worked after around 6 weeks.